What's up, No Stone Unturned? I have a very special show for you today. I am so excited that I have you in the building.
Most
It says long overdue.
Most definitely.
Mr. Cedric Hargrave. Yes.
Exactly.
Welcome. The original Cedric said?
The original Cedric.
That's it.
For sure.
Thank you so much for coming to No Stone Unturned.
Okay.
I am happy to have you here.
Pleased to be here. I appreciate you inviting me.
I heard that you're responsible for bringing some of the best artists and celebrities to BR.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah,
you're the man.
Basically, I was trendsetter.
Uh-huh.
Did a lot of things in the early 90s. Introducing things to the city of Baton Rouge, like fashion, I have a passion for fashion. That's one of my things.
That part.
Along with that, back in the days, came the entertainment with rap artists.
Things
of that nature.
Yes, the first hip-hop store in BR, right?
Yes, I was the first and original hip-hop store in Baton Rouge where I introduced urban designers such as Fubu, Dada, Nietzsche, Sean John, and so forth,
The big hidden stuff. Because back in the day, baby, that's what you wore. You was it if you had those styles.
Oh, most definitely. Before now, I get back now and these Arabs and Vietnamese that took over everything.
You see that, huh?
Yeah. So
How
that's
do you
why I'm
feel
here.
about that, though?
Well, basically, seen it coming because when I used to be in Atlanta, I used to be in New York, California. I seen the trend down there where a lot of Arabs was doing their things. And when I go to the clothing conventions, those be the main buyers. So now by them able to duplicate it and do things of that nature, it kind of like water the game down. So that was my reason for, once I got back here, I created my own brand. And I basically like target urban brands and try to help these young brothers out in high school and college and help them create their brand and get it on. Just trying to keep it black on.
So you saw it coming down here in Louisiana?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah,
most definitely as I travel.
Now, being that you are an originator, you are a trendsetter, and you see that what the game is now compared to what it was then, how could you, for the newcomers, is it totally different, or do you see them kind of repurposing the game over? What do you think?
Well, basically, I wouldn't say repurposing over, but this younger generation, they definitely got a nice little swag. Some of the things I see, no disrespect, some of these females wearing, it's just out of control. When we had the fashion back in the days, it was classic.
That
you know what I'm saying? And I'm big on class.
I love the colors of the 90s. Like that, the type of fashion, it just stood out. The colors was big time. It had a feel to it. Like the 90s had a feel, a style, and a look.
Most definitely.
So like the Dada hat you have on right now.
Vintage.
Vintage, baby, that's classic, baby. You ain't gonna see that everywhere. So you say you were back. You back on the streets now. You were gone for a while. Tell us about that, because that manifested the work of art that we have here today to talk about. So give us a little insight.
Well, basically, I was put into a situation where I took a shortcut in life and lost a couple of decades of my time, you know what I mean? So now I'm back to right my wrong, try to help these young brothers avoid the situations that I went through, and just continue being a pillar of the community, help create an opportunity.
That part. So author, writer, you had some time to sit and write. What made you want to write a book, or was it just like journaling at first, or how did you get to it?
Well, being in my situation, writing became therapeutic for me, you know what I mean? So I basically did a lot of reading. And after reading several novels in there, I read all type of books, from Robert Greene to John Grisham, all type of book I enjoy reading on my spare time. And a couple of those urban novels I was reading were like from New York, Detroit, Chicago. So a lot of stories that I was reading wasn't adding up. So I say, man, I actually lived this life. So who could write a better story? So that's what made me basically put I-10 to the pen together and show them our culture the way we do it in Louisiana.
Wow. Okay, give me a summary of I-10 to the pen, just a little snippet of it.
Well, it's basically a lifestyle of living in the fast lane, enjoying life, getting money, you know what I mean, things of that nature. But I don't glorify drug dealing, I don't glorify crime. It's a message in my story. For every action, there's a reaction.
That's a word right there. For every action, there's a reaction. So when you see the stories on TV now, the BMFs, the Powers, those stories, Not, I guess not glorifying it, but I guess shining a light on it. When you see it and you've actually lived it, is that TV or is that real?
Well, basically, my story is basically everything in there I wouldn't consider real. Some things actually happen, a lot of things not. But when you become an author, you have to be able to give your story a feel in order to keep the reader's attention. So a lot of things you may see on TV, they're going to add to it in order to make it successful and grab your attention. So everything is not always real that you read and see.
That's right. That's right. In the area that you stumped, in the Baton Rouge area, like, what was your ground?
The city, the whole city.
The whole city was
and
yours?
surrounding areas.
What?
Yeah.
And surrounding areas.
Yeah, I didn't believe in beef. You know, I like creating opportunities. If I can help you, I can help you.
Yeah, so how you moved around like that? Like, because I feel like everybody is territorial now. You know, this my section, this my. How were you able to move?
Being humble and having respect.
Yeah, that take you a long way, don't it?
You might run across a few bumps every now and then, this and that, when I was out there, but it wasn't nothing major. You know, no lives lost. Just if you're not moving how I'm moving, I'm gonna move out your way.
That part. So what do you say about like now, like the flashy, like the Instagram? I'm making all of my moves. They can track me everywhere. Like that wasn't like that in your day.
Nah, and that's a big factor that I speak to my youth a lot. You know, they have to be educated about this Instagram. You know what I mean? This social media and social presence, because it's a bunch of foolery. You know what I mean? They cause a whole lot of death in our community by social media, and I don't have a platform to slow it down. The biggest problem, no disrespect, but Mark Zuckerberg.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It shouldn't be instant. It shouldn't be live. He had billions of dollars to get that screen before it's put on there. I hate seeing young black girls fighting, putting wigs off.
Yeah.
Young guys holding up guns. You know, wasn't none of that back in our days. You know what I mean?
It was some type of censoring of this thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and now everything is at the click of at your fingertips. What we see becomes commercialized. You know, it becomes something that you can sell within an instant. And it's something like you said back in the day, it was a strategy, or you had to meet some type of guidelines to get on television, especially mainstream. Now it is so, I can tell you my every move, I'm gonna tell you my dollar, I can tell you where I stand, our location could be binged, you know.
Right.
Back then, was it, I don't want to say easier to move, or was it safer to move around then?
Well, it was more, basically they was more stricter, a whole lot stricter, because we come up in the BET, hip hop, BET in the basement, MTV Raps, 106 in Park. You weren't able to get on there with guns. You weren't able to get on there with alcohol. You weren't able to show your butt cheeks and all things of that nature. So by Instagram coming and social media coming, it kind of watered it down and just made this whole industry saturated. It was principles and morals at that time.
That's true.
If you had beef back then, with no filming and recording and say, come see me. Now you got to pull up on me. So now they make it so easy. And that's what's causing a lot of problems.
That is true. That is true. Like you say, real-time content.
Exactly.
That at one point was really doctored and watched, like you say, in a way that is not these days. Correct. I heard you brought Pac to the city.
Yeah, basically me and my man Boo Milton at the time, he was a big factor in that. Bought Tupac, ended up coming down on, came to my reggae shop, by the way. I had opened the first reggae shop in the city of Baton Rouge in 1990 while I was in college at Southern University. And therefore introduced a lot of things to the city. Those who know, from front of these to the beaties. You know what I'm saying? Throwing Rastafarian concerts in the parking lot. But basically, me and Boo Milton, that was one of my partners, man.
Yeah.
All the rappers he bring down to the city, they used to have to come by the reggae shop to get their energy boost, what they need in order to perform nice that night.
How were you able to do that? Like have that type of, like you said, opening up a reggae shop. You know, that was a no-no. Like having the hip hop store, being able to cultivate that type of culture. It's the South. This is South Baton Rouge. You know, a lot of those opportunities aren't just handed to black men. How was it? Was it a struggle, or did you have to fight for it? How did it just land in your?
Basically, being a traveler, I used to travel a lot. I love traveling. You know, from the Tyson fights to the Soul Train Awards, the Super Bowl, NBA All-Star. So when I hit these different cities, I may see something in this city that we don't have in Baton Rouge.
Right.
So therefore, I'm gonna capitalize on that, bring it to the city, make an introduction, and move forward. And I basically like to stay one of a kind. If you're going this way, I'm going that way.
How have you been able to? I guess not reinvent yourself, but I guess come back into, society, but you still have such a huge name.
Well, it's this simple, proving with nothing to prove.
Yeah.
Proving with nothing to prove. I'd have been there, done that, have nothing to prove, I'm just here to help.
Yeah. So have you been able to get that open door in the community? Have people been, willing to, I guess, accept you in, or?
Oh, most definitely. Due to my moves not being able to move around for these past 18 months, due to my situation, it's been slow action for me. But now that I'm able to move around, there's a lot of love and support out there for me because I'm here for the city. I'm basically trying to bridge a lot of gaps that's been taking these young rappers, things of that nature. I want to see the city come together.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? I understand there's been a lot of bloodshed, a lot of lives lost. A lot of incarceration, a lot of mothers crying. When it's gonna stop?
Yeah.
Because it's not gonna fix the situation by you killing the next man or continue to be. We got so much talent in the city. Baton Rouge had their own culture. If we can just come together, you know what I mean? It'd be a lot better.
I think about when you were saying you started, was your reggae shop, I think you said by Southern, or did it start over in that area? Or your hip hop shop was
Yes,
by
I had
Southern?
it was located on Hardin Boulevard. I opened my first reggae shop in 1990. From there, opened my clothing store, which was called Freedom Hip Hop. And later after that, in 1997, I opened up my second clothing store in the gates of LSU called Freedom Urban Wear right across the street from Radio King.
That is amazing. But even thinking about like Hardin Boulevard then, and even in the 90s, that looks totally different from what it looked like then. Was that more of a place where you could set up shop and it had like a lot of foot traffic then? Or it was just always the Southern University crowd that used to be in that area?
When it comes to business, you gotta always know your target. And by me opening up the reggae shop, you know what I'm saying? I used to get a lot of college students. I even have people from like the city of Lafayette. Lafayette is pretty big on the reggae tip.
That's true.
A lot bigger than Baton Rouge. So basically when I seen that, you know what I mean? I started seeing white folks from suburban neighborhoods coming to Scotland to bring their kids to purchase clothes. So I put my head together. I'm like, man, I got some here.
Yeah.
I attempted to get in Cortana Mall, but at the time, they didn't allow any black-owned businesses in Cortana Mall.
Really?
Yeah, they had one black-owned business that I can tell you, and it was Master P, No Limit. He had a No Limit clothing, but the location that they gave him was like a dead end of the mall where no one shopped.
Sure was. I do remember that. Was that anywhere like around the jewelry store? Or what? But it wasn't black people who had the jewelry store. Yeah.
Well, I basically presented them
I remember that.
I presented them my portfolio, my business plan, and everything that I have, introducing urban design to the city. But they didn't allow me to get in the mall. The spot where I was going to be was like $5,000 a month next door to Foot Locker. So what ended up happening, they ended up letting the store called Demo get there. So when Demo ended up coming to the city, so when Demo ended up coming to the city in the mall, it kind of slowed my traffic down where I was. So I had to come up with a plan, a revised plan. Me and one of my best friends were riding one day and saw this location on LSU campus, right next door to Baskin-Robbins. Put my head together.
That's it.
Hired me an architect from New Jersey. She flew down, designed the store, and it was up from there. I used to get a lot of traffic from like a lot of rappers, No Limit, Cash Money, CeeLo, the city and all the surrounding areas.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, do you have any heart or desire of like bringing that back?
Oh, most definitely. That's why I created my brand. It's called TYL right now.
That's what's up.
And basically, it's acronym, and it stands for basically take your lick, which means being accountable for your own actions, good or bad.
Wow.
It's a Louisiana slang. And those who know. I also have a youth organization that stands for teaching young leaders. And my motto is try your luck, but most important, thank you, Lord.
Okay. That could go anyway, like you say.
Yeah, like I say, you
It's
gotta be a
trendsetter.
and you just gotta be. I have
You the man.
passion for it. You know what I mean? I enjoy doing it.
That's dope. That's dope. I like that. And I like all the ways that you can play into that. And I like you, like you say, thank you, Lord, take your lick. Accountability is a word that I've heard a lot this week, actually. It's about being able to own up to the things that not only that may have happened in your past, or those things cannot control you if you take accountability for it.
Right.
When you were writing your books and in the pen sitting there, was that almost like your accountability, like taking accountability to what happened, maybe writing it all down? I'm asking.
Having a way to express myself,
That part.
you know what I mean? And sitting there, it was pretty fun writing. I took writing, like I said, it was therapeutic for me. I sit down and have to act out the character. So I would wait like 10 at night when everybody's asleep. You know, sit in my little free space. I might write to 8 in the morning. I might write a chapter a day, you know, but I have to act out the character. So it was pretty fun.
It's still replaying in your mind.
Oh, most definitely. A lot of scenes that I put in the book I've heard of that may have happened. And I put a twist to it, basically.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What made you go with 3 trilogies, like to keep the book going and like not start a new one, but keep going with the story? It just kept getting bigger. Or?
Well, when I first wrote the book, I was dealing with 21st Street Urban Editing. It's a publishing company that's out of California. And when I sent them the manuscript, you know what I mean, because there wasn't no PDF files in prison that you can get. When I sent them the manuscript, it was big old folder, a bunch of papers this thick. So when the female hit me back, she was like, "No one's gonna read this." I'm like, "What? What you mean?" It's gonna look like a dictionary. Why don't you break it down? So I basically end up breaking it down. I rewrote it maybe about 3 or 4 times before I got it right.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, most definitely.
So how long did it take?
I can write a book in 90 days. 90 days if I'm clear and out the way, peaceful, I can knock a book out in 90 days. You know, I have to take the lick publication, and that's one of my things that I teach my youth. I'm in the process of helping them, show them how to write a book, edit it for them, help them out. A couple of these rappers in the city, and I was talking to a lot of them during the pandemic and letting them know y'all not able to perform. You need product, man. Create your book. You know what I mean? You can't sit there. You're not able to perform and doing the shows. Things that got slow. You got to stay on your grind. And one thing about it, product always talent.
Always, right?
Yeah, because it's going to be around when you're not here.
That part.
Most definitely.
That part. Man, I am so happy that you came to know Stone Unturned. I am. You are also working on a documentary?
Yes, I'm currently in the process of putting a documentary together.
Wow, is that going to be based on your life too, or is it going to be like I Tend to the Pen?
Now, it's going to be based on my life. It's TYL also, 23 years later. Yeah.
I'm ready for that. How fast we can get that out?
You know, I like to perfect things and do things with class.
Oh,
and make sure that it's correct so y'all can enjoy it.
I respect that.
Yeah,
I respect that. Thank you so much for coming to know Stone Unturned.
No problem, no problem.
Is there any last things you would like to leave the people?
Well, basically, I'm in the process of opening up my clothing store. It's going to be located at 8700 Florida Boulevard Service Road. It should be open no later than May or June this year.
Excited about that.
And I'm inviting all local urban designers. But you have to have a full clothing line, not just T-shirts and a hat. You know what I'm saying? I prefer you to have a full clothing line, and I'm gonna give you the support that you need. I'll be hiring college students and also high school students to work there as interns. So I'm looking for graphic designer, a media team, fashion designers, things of that nature.
What, are you looking for influencers?
Exactly. Also, I have a podcast inside there as well.
Come on, tell me about it.
It's gonna be inside of the store. It's going to be inside the store.
I'm going to need to get with you on it.
You do a great job, so I definitely love to have you over.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You know, like Cedric. A lot of these young kids that I deal with in the community, they need the opportunity, you know,
that's right,
to come be interviewed and things of that nature. Another thing, I deal with the youth a lot, and currently I was just recently defunded in December due to the new transition with the mayor's office. But me and my team, we continue to do the work, and we'll be doing fundraisers and looking for sponsors. Pivot for Peace, Line for Line, teaching young leaders.
That part. And if we know anybody who want to help out, how can the people reach you?
Yeah, the work has to be done. You know, the thing about me, it's a lot of work that I do, and I'm not big on posting on social media because a lot of them be sensitive things. Like recently, I was just at a balloon release for the 80-year-old man that got killed back there in the field.
Yeah.
And I didn't see no one from the mayor's office there to show support to the family.
Yeah.
You know, they only basically a lot of people come around when the camera's out.
That part.
So you can't get nothing done under the cameras. You have to be boots on the ground. You have to be in the community. That go from the churches, that go from the schools, that go for all other organizations that's out here. Shout out to Baton Rouge Street Team as well.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Cedric, for coming to know Stone Unturned. I really appreciate you.
Okay, I appreciate being here. Anytime you need me.
Thank you, sir. Guys, it's been another incredible episode. You know what you're watching. No Stone Unturned, everybody. Until next time, peace and love.